it be a sin? But I can't help falling in love with you. As the river flows gently to the sea, some things were meant to be. They take my hand, take my whole life too. Where you coming from? He went to play basketball with you. See, he makes the best of situations. He's not looking at.
I want to play basketball. I don't want to play it right.
To the sea, our links will we go. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. But I can't help falling in love with you. 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 What a nice way to shift the vibration. You know what I'm saying? Just play some love music, some reggae. Reggae is always the nicest rhythm. Woo! I love my reggae music. This is my playlist. Which playlist is this one called? Oh, this is Spotlight on Reggae.
Walking on the shore,
Ooh,
I try to concentrate. My mind wants to explore.
ooh.
The tropical scent of you takes me up above. And girl, when I look at you, oh, I fall in love.
Fall in love. What you say? I have service.
To be
Not good.
a woman just like you.
Too hard.
Oh,
Know that I'm the only man
oh, 'cause everybody must sit up on their foot.
like I can.
Oh,
So just let me be with
While driving, right?
the woman that I love.
oh, mysterious girl, I wanna be close to you. Oh, your soul on fire. Mysterious girl, I wanna be close to you. What are the next song? Hello, she's the beast. How art thou? It's easy to remember, hard to forget. Just singing and driving and sending out some love to anyone who would love to feel the vibration. Greetings, Sophia. I probably didn't have any signal when I first came on because I didn't see anybody on, but I said I'm going to keep singing. I'm going to keep singing, playing some music. Hi. You loving to hear? You know, I just have it on just so it can keep me nice and warm. You know what I mean? See how fast I grow my hair? Isn't that fast? Yeah. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody being? That's right, Sophia. Wearing my crown. Wearing my crown. Yeah. I just thought I'd pop on here and just bring in my frequency. I wasn't feeling too well for the past several weeks. Yeah. You know, but I keep it moving. I keep it rolling. I've had to keep my energy sort of protected and stuff like that, you know. Pushing through a stomach virus and all that kind of goody stuff, you know, and processing energy as usual, you know, getting my dreams and messages. So I'm about to put out a powerful dream I had today. I'm about to put it out on my YouTube community. There's so much information to share. I'm trying to keep up with all the messages as much as possible. What can I say, you know? How's everybody being and doing? I'm making you laugh? I'm good. I'm glad. Yeah, I had my kids and my grandkids was over. They're not talking to me, my grandkids. Can you imagine that shit? I guess it must be all that power that's coming on board, you know? So can be quite scary, but it's just a matter of understanding it, you know what I mean? So they were all playing games, having a good time and everything like that. Yeah, and I'm still honoring myself. Yay! Oh yeah, doing all of that. So, but I definitely have some powerful messages to share with everyone. I didn't want to put it out there because every time when I speak it out, then I notice there's a delay with it. So just tune in to when I log on to, you know, YouTube. You know, I thought I turned on the light for outside. Yeah. So has anyone been feeling kind of out of sorts to themselves? Like, have you been having any experiences of fatigue, tired, lots of dreams, feeling like you don't want to do anything, like feeling lazy, lethargic, pulled away from work? Besides, you know, I'm talking about before everything started with this frenzy, you know, with the virus, you know, anything with your uterus, digestion, eating habits, all of that stuff. Yeah, I've been feeling lazy too. I'll be honest with you, I have not done any work. It's almost a month now. Okay, when I say work, if anyone knows, I also do medical billing. I do medical billing collections, and I also do the readings, and I haven't done that. I haven't logged on to Keen for readings. No, when I say barely, I just did 2 readings maybe last week. That was it. And it's like I'm not even excited over it, even if I did. It's just, and I know that the reason why that's happening is because we're being ushered into this new energy of living life freely and being, you know, free from that work enslavement thing and getting prepared for the new earth. You know, I was already anticipating that the government in the States, which I know they started it in Hong Kong, and I believe it's going to be in Australia, where They're going to give money to the citizens of everyone that's affected from what's been going on. So everything is serving its higher purpose, as it should, as it will be. You know, I have so much messages to share, even for twins. Yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. Yes, it is. So stay in your knowing. Stay in your knowing. Stay in your knowing. So I will definitely be back on to share. Yep, the moon whooped my ass. Mercury retrograde whooped my ass. Everything was whooping my ass. My ass. Lots of review and lots of messages coming through from my twin and his brother. Both of them. My mom came through in dreams to me. I fell asleep with my clothes on. Everything was on. Okay? Lights was on. I woke up and I went back in again. Had another dream. And this time I dreamt about Michael Blackson. And it was all of my peoples, indigenous people. And it was so similar to the dream I had when I was at the other house, the one that's empty right now, that I was evicted out of, that's still empty. And I'm telling you, a lot of reparations are coming, especially if you know in your heart that you were with me back in ancient Kemet when I was, and still am Nefertiti. Trust me, you will be receiving your reparations. Everything is in reverse. Everything that's been taken, everything that's been what do I call it, in deception, or you felt or have felt enslaved, and it's like we're detaching from that old system. So that's why you feel like you're lazy, and a part of your brain might be saying, no, you're not being productive, no, you got to go work, no, you gotta survive. So work through continuous letting go of that survival code, because it's a code that's in your DNA, that's also attached to the DNA of your ancestors. Because the way my mom came in the dream is because she came to me in the dream telling me that she lost her job. And you know, my mom and I, we were so close. We were like sisters. And my mother, she was the one that she would work, save her money, stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, I was the one that I'll work, I'll save my money, but I also wanted to enjoy life, and I spend money on myself and go places and, you know, clothes and stuff like that. That was me. So my mother was more frugal. So for my mom in the dream, it was like, for her, it's like losing her job means, what am I going to do with the mortgage and stuff like that? And it's so funny because she comes to me in the dream with that, even though she's on the other side. But I know that there was something filtering through me connected to her, and also my divine masculine, because he reminds me so much of my mom a lot. The energy that comes from him. And I always told him that. I said, you remind me so much. It's like he was like a masculine version to my mother. And you know, that's not the same as my twin, but it's still so similar or different, I should say, in terms of that masculine energy and sequence of how it was flowing through to me with the dream. So I felt like, and I said to her in the dream, I said, well, mommy, everything's going to be okay, because I haven't done any type of work or anything for almost 3 weeks now. And yet still I'm at peace and I'm in flow and stuff like that. And I said, just believe and trust, that's what's happening. And I said, I do feel we're going to end up moving anyway, I said to her in the dream, because I was being taken back to my childhood. And my mom, she was the type of person that she would buy my sister and I only when we needed stuff. She would never go above board or anything like that. So she was that type of person. So I never had all the, you know, like when, I remember when designer jeans came out, and I wanted to get my jeans and stuff, and she wasn't doing it. So my aunt, my father's sister, she was the one that got me the designer jeans. She was the one that got my ears pierced, everything like that. So I was only able to be updated through my aunt. And you know, my mom, she wasn't the type of person to say, no, you can't do that, you know. So, but no, so my aunt, she was the more fashionable one. My aunt was the one that was into the jewelry and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff was within my DNA through my aunt on my father's side. So when I think about it, from back in those days when I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, I basically had to use my own imagination, make my dresses at times. I wanted to do my own hairstyle. I was just very independent, my own way, and how I came across, you know, divine feminine and stuff like that. And so it's like I was able to have my mother come to peace, even though that's not really what it was as far as in this time and space, but it was because it was filtering through my subconscious mind of where I was energetically and through the ancestors in feeling that programming of having to work to survive, and how are we going to survive with what's going on with the sea thing. I'm just going to say it like that because I told Charlize a while ago, I said, we must be conscious of how often we call a name a thing, especially because it depends on the vibration that it carries. And she still wasn't understanding what I was saying. So I know you'll understand what I'm saying. So you know what I'm saying. Get what I'm saying? So I said that because of that, there are many of us that may feel like you're panicking and worrying about how am I going to survive? You know, how are we going to get through this? And what does it mean for us? You know, because no matter what, as we're going through the ascension process, we still got to eat, we got to sleep, we got to have a roof over our heads and all that stuff. And all I keep hearing is everything's going to be all right. Everything is still going to be in what we say in Jamaica, copacetic order. And you know, there's some people who are going to be panicking still. There's some people who are going to be in fear. There's some people who are going to be in continuous with the conspiracy theories. And some people are going to be in that space of, you know, the unknown and the fear and the doubt, you know, and stuff like that, which is understandable because it's a normal human response. There was parts of myself that was feeling a little fear, you know, when I was feeling sick. And more, I would say more sick, because I was just determined to release this virus that I had in my stomach. I actually had to get vitamin C. I got Immune 26. I got Equinox. I was just listening to my mom because she was a herbalist. She still is. And she would guide me and tell me what to take, what to do. And I was doing all of that. And you know what was the last thing I had to take last night? I felt that really killed it because I was feeling this, like a bacteria coming up through my throat. This was about 4 days ago. And I was like, hell no. I said, I'm not going to be carrying that shit because I could feel like it wanted to develop into something. But my daughter-in-law told me last night she was also feeling the same thing too. And I was like, wow. I said, that's no coincidence. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to take something more and further with this. So I went and got me some more tequila, some lime and lemon, squeezing it all in there so I can kill that virus, you know, once and for all that's within me. Because you could feel it, and I was constantly on the toilet. It was, oh my God. My body was processing times during ancient Kemet, during the Mercury retrograde, the last week of it. And it's like I felt like the plagues of Egypt was happening right now. I said, we're the ones that's bringing in this apocalypse. It was always like a apocalypse. We are the apocalypse. Anyone who resonates with that, you'll know why. Because it was like a part of history was repeating itself in a different cycle, in a different way, but it was still something that was representing what's within us, that was coming out of us and being released. And it's still something that is recreating that part of ourselves, that's bringing in the new ley lines in different parts of the earth. And so how it's being created is through the illnesses that existed in the past, the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual illnesses that existed within our ancestors, that also came upon us from being enslaved through, you know, even with the indigenous people, through the parts of ourselves that had to work and toil in order to take care of our families and stuff like that. And so the same system that had been corrupted is the same system that is going in reverse to give us back what was taken. So we can look inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves, because in all actuality we did give away our power, but now we're given the go ahead to proceed in where we're being led to the change that is happening within us. Your body is also being prepared. It's being prepared for these unions that are also taking place on the earth. I'm talking about the physical reunion of twins. Also being prepared for how Saturn that moves into Aquarius and receiving these new DNA codes and what's being reenacted that we tried before when Yeshua walked the planet, and him and Mary Magdalene were not able to bring things to its fullest completion. And so you are moving through these elements at such a rapid pace. It's just coming in so rapidly It can't even be explained in words, you know. So I did a lot of recordings from the dreams I had. I had powerful back-to-back dreams with my twin, my beloved. And it wasn't even an actual dream. It was actually, we were actually conversating in the astral realm. So you may find yourself having conversations with your divine counterpart. Pay very close attention, because it's that part of yourself that's connected. It's like each time that we're freeing up energy, moving through the illnesses, stuff will show up in your body that represents who you were in a past life in relation to them, in relation to your mother, your father, siblings. It could be anyone. And as you're moving and filtering through all of this energy, you're going to find yourself feeling like you're definitely in a new reality. Like you really do feel it. Like you're waking up and then you're sleeping, and you're waking up and you're feeling like you're not able to keep track of the days of the week. Like everything just seems to be just shrinking with what the old ways. You know, we think about 3D. 3D is really, it's not even just okay, how I'm thinking in thoughts. 3D is also the routine things that we're used to, the routine of how life is, or how things were before. You know, it's like what was written in scriptures, that the world itself, the earth, everything shall be made anew, and we're starting over again. So Saturn in Aquarius, for me, what's being shown to me is that is where the true reset is happening right now, meaning that as we're moving into Aries, that's the beginning of the astrological new year, and it's also the beginning of beginning stages of what we're recreating on Earth. So be conscious and mindful of what you speak. Allow yourself to understand the process of what you're going through and what it means for you, what it means for your own personal union space, also your connection and connections, okay? Maybe also those that you're separating from, because I also was going through my own separation from people and places and situation. You may feel 1 minute things are like one way, and then it just changes into something else again. And you know, it's like, can I allow myself to adapt to the change? Can I allow myself to adapt to what's increasing in my reality, and then what I'm letting go of also in my reality? Because we're releasing and letting go. We're releasing and we're taking in at the same time. So it's like, it's more than one thing that's happening here simultaneously. You know, it's simultaneously. And as it is happening simultaneously, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want this. Where is this taking me? How will I manage? That's how we're letting go of 3D. That's the 3D. And 5D is, I know I don't have all the answers. I can feel and I know this is a part of the change that's happening on the planet. I know that something is being recreated here, and I'm at peace with it. I know that it may appear as if everyone and everything is in chaos, but I know that everything is happening through the divine, and that it's serving its divine purpose. And I'm looking forward, and I'm in gratitude for the new earth and how she is showing up already, because it's a her energy. It's like she's just I've just been feeling it within myself. I've been feeling more of this empowerment. I've been having so much of everything that goes back to the beginning of time, you know, with the black mother and the black goddess. I've been just feeling this presence and this energy that comes with so much power when you're fully engaged in and with her. You feel yourself merge with the Holy Spirit. You feel yourself merge with the essence of Divine Father, and you could see how it all culminates into this great power and magnitude that it cannot be explained in words, you know. So that's what I know and what I feel. And you know, it's like I don't have the complete answer to all of it, but I know that everything is being shown to me. Like as soon as I feel a name of a person or a thought or an image, then in the physical realm they show up. It's like it's just happening so rapidly, and I'm like, I'm in such amazement, you know, with it, and how it is all coming together, one after the other. Even a dream I had, it was on 12/21. I had a dream, and I don't remember the details of the dream, but it was interesting because at that pinnacle point, there was something that was happening with my beloved. And I knew there was something that was culminating between me and him with what was shifting and what was coming out in the open to do with him. And of course, I did record the dream, which was exactly 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And I was like, wow, this is something. I didn't realize it until after the fact. So now, fast forwarding, I realized that there's another pinnacle point with the spring equinox that's coming up this weekend and what it means with the balance of light and dark. So I'm going to be putting out that segment because I can't even think in my mind which was first, which was second, because everything is just coming in so rapidly with the information, and it's almost like part of it is making sense and part of it is like following in a sequential order from one moment to the next, and then it's like it puts me in a review in the past that's bringing it back to the present, so it completes another cycle of what's coming together in unity to do with all of us. Because the dream that I had today to do with Michael Blackson and my mom and my divine masculine, it's like everything that's releasing with our connection to survival, money, how am I going to get through the sea thing that's going on, and paying my bills and my mortgage and this and that and all that. And then it brought me to that space of how, you know, when we're taught like, oh, don't be too happy now, you know, because if you stay too much in your happiness, you're supposed to work and be productive and focus and concentrate. Whereas if we're in joy and happiness and dancing and we're not so hell bent, as one would say, into what do you call it, like, oh, I'm not gonna do this because I gotta pay this bill, or I gotta go take care of this, and I gotta do that. Whereas when you're more in joy and you're more in happiness and coming together as one embodiment with all of that, it shifts and it brings on an element of how you are creating and recreating and bringing in your abundance. See, compared to what we were taught before. Because I go back to the dream with my mom, when I told her, I said, everything is working out okay. Everything is coming through fine for us. And it's to just be in that space of trusting it. And sometimes we may not get the entire picture of how things are going to manifest and how are we going to get this and how. And Spirit wants us to let go of that. Like completely let go of that. And to be only in a space of I'm in gratitude, not only be in a space of, because there's more than one way that things can happen. That's all I know what Spirit shows to me. There's more than one way that everything can happen, because we all knew when everything is coming together for us with our divine unions that somehow we're not going to have to be concerned about all the physical things that's going on. And that's why we keep hearing the same message: focus on your healing, focus on your healing, focus on what's being shown to you. So I was actually filtering through something that is within the subconsciousness of my mother, and especially some of that programming where, families, mothers, fathers, it could be fathers and mothers, it doesn't have to be necessarily one way, where we're having to be concerned about how we're going to feed our kids, how we're going to do this. Even with what's happening now, I got a phone call while I was driving a little earlier to do with Charlize's school, and I told her, I said, I know that they're going to have school canceled all the way till the rest of the year. And so she felt, because they were going to slate them to go back Thursday. Brandon, the same thing. I told him, I said, let me call there. So, hey, Tavon, so that way I get all your stuff, because I know they're going to cancel the entire school year. But he didn't listen. And so I know that that's what's coming to happen, because even the educational system is going on. Because I told Charlize that just when she was in the car here a while ago, I said, who the heck, because when they left the message on the phone, they said that they're offering for the kids to go get breakfast and lunch between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and then up until 1 p.m. for lunch. So they said that for those children who don't have computers and they don't have access to the internet, that they can come and get booklets and leaflets or whatever to keep up with whatever they need to do for school. And I look at Charles and I said, no, if me knows me in school, Why would I give a flying feather about going all the way to the school to go pick up pamphlets? Are you kidding me? So I heard Spirit say because even the educational system is also disintegrating. See? That is also disintegrating just as much as the governmental system. And it's not necessarily that it's going to go away completely. It's more of a restructuring. It's a restructure. So when something is being restructured, that means it's breaking down all the old ways of how it performs or how it comes out, and then it starts over again. So this is where the reset again is coming in this weekend, as we're in that mid-center and the beginning. It's a mid-center of the light and dark, where it's merging together as it understands itself. And then we're also in the beginning stage of the new earth. So we're integrating the light and the dark, and we're also beginning the stages of the new earth and how the new earth is showing up now with the principle of where we are in consciousness, how we're recreating that space, like the dream that I had where I actually had just had breakfast in the dream, and I had a friend of mine that I haven't spoken to her in years. Her name is Sonia, and she came to join me or visit me. So I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. And I said, oh wow, now I'm gonna have to go make you breakfast. That's what I said in the dream. And so what ended up happening is I didn't have to end up making breakfast for her, because all of a sudden all these people started coming into my space, and one person says, hey, I'm gonna make this and I'm gonna make that. There was belly dancing and dancing. And then Michael Blackson, the comedian, he came in to my space, and I was like, how did you hear about the party? And he's like, oh, I just wanted to join you. And you know, he's there cracking jokes and stuff like that. And I said, how interesting that he came there, because when I look at Michael Blackson, because I follow him on Instagram, no matter what the heck is happening, he always got jokes. He's laughing. He's bringing on the jokes. He doesn't care how anybody feels or thinks, and they could be upset and this, and because, you know, everybody's processing through everything from different perspectives. And, you know, if you come around me and in my life with myself and my children, we are joking and laughtering all day long practically. I could get as mad as a cow for a split second, but I don't stay there that long, because, you know, I'm going to keep it real. You know, I have all these kids. And when I have all these kids, there's something that's going to bring me right back into a different state of being. And I bring myself back up again, because I always have one child that represents all the joy and constant laughter. And then there's one that represents the nitpicking, and, you know, I don't want to name who they are. And then there's another one that represents this energy of reasoning, you know, and stuff like that. And they're all parts of me that's reflecting outside of me. So how can I manage all of this, right? This is what the dream was telling me, and how all this energy and everything that's coming back into unity through all of the experiences that we have, and how it shows up individually through each person. Can we honor it and see the glory of the divine showing up as it is filtering through and going through this layer of awakening, as we're merging the light and the shadow, right? The parts that we don't like to look at with ourselves, and how we feel inside, and am I good enough? Am I going to get through this? Am I awakened enough? And, you know, and the things that we want to judge, and all that stuff from the past, and the fears, and how am I going to pay this bill, and how am I going to get through? All of that is what represents, because when you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, you know all is well. You know that you have enough. You know that you're always being provided for. That you choose peace and wisdom, or you apply wisdom so you can have peace. You know, because once you apply wisdom all the time, and it takes time to get used to it. It's like the moment you go through the experience and then you stop and say, what is spirit showing me? What is my soul showing me? And you do that first, and then if you choose to want to panic after that, that's all right. Because, you know, if you're gonna go hide and say, oh, I don't want anybody to see me, oh, me I get mad, you know, I don't want nobody to see me, oh, I feel this way because this is happening around me, so because I gotta let them know that I'm really awakened. Stop that shit, okay? Be yourself. I want to tell you something I did this evening. I want to share, afternoon, I should say. Because, you know, Brandon is back here with me, and everybody knows when Brandon comes back with me, boy, that's where the talking begins. That's my son, I tell you. But I noticed a change in him. A lot more has humbled with him and him honoring me as his mother. So here's where the trolling began. So he then says, oh, mommy, one of my friends is here, and he's going to take, we're going to go play basketball. So I tell him, I said, well, tell a friend I want to talk to him. You tell him that I said to come inside. So his friend got out the car, and his friend works at Wendy's, so, you know, I remember his face. He comes inside, and I said to him, I said, tell me, how do you feel about Brandon? I want you to tell me how you feel about Brandon. He said, oh, he's a nice friend. I said, I didn't ask you what your relationship was with him. I said, I want to know, how do you feel about him? He said, oh, he's a nice guy. I said, you're not telling me the complete truth. I said, tell me the complete truth, how you see Brandon. So he's looking at me like, oh man, I don't want to say the wrong answer because, you know, I don't want to upset Miss Green. So, and I was keeping a straight face. But Brandon knows me. He knew I was trolling a little bit, but I was being serious because I said, how much can you apply yourself to being authentic? Like, really? How much do you apply yourself to being authentic? Because this is what the new earth is about, how we're being authentic. Even if you're in a higher state of consciousness, being authentic doesn't mean I'm not going to say something and I'm not going to do something because it's going to make me look like as if I'm not awakened, or, you know, this might step on somebody's toes and blah, blah, blah. Okay? I'm going to keep it real. So then I said to his friend, I said, tell you what, I'll help you out there. I said, so Brandon acts like an asshole sometimes, right? He's like, yeah. I said, he acts like a bitch too, right? He's like, yeah. So then I kept going down the list, and Brandon's looking at me like, wow, mommy, okay, all right. So I said, because I know you. I know how you are with your friends, and I know who you are inside, and so do your friends. And we don't have to tippy-toe around each other in how we feel and how we express and what we know. You see what I'm saying? And I said to him, I said, and sometimes Brandon act like he's so damn cocky too, right? And he was like, yeah. And he was a very quiet young man. So I was just laughing to myself, and I told him, I said, now here's why I did this with you. I said, I want you to be real and authentic at all times with me. Because even my kids, they tell me, like, all my children say, mommy, all my friends are scared of you. I said, why? I said, they shouldn't be scared. I said, they should embrace me. I said, you know why? I said, because I'm so much in my full power and expression. The world and maybe others are not used to it because they're used to people being fake, pussyfooting around, not being in their expression and what feels real for you at that moment. You see? So we can definitely come out and express ourselves, understand ourselves, and honor where we all are. See, individually and collectively. And so I go back to that dream again, where there was dancing, singing, food galore. I was tasting, and this time in the dream I was tasting all these foods, and, you know, and celebrities were there. People who were in their religion stance was there. People who were in their spiritual stance was there. Okay, it was broad daylight. It was on a huge farm-like setting. It was big. And all I could think of is, whew, this is where my Garden of Eden is. I think of that movie, What Dreams May Come. I'm going to go to twins now. And when we talk about light and dark, is that sometimes we have to go down into that valley of the shadow of death. Like you could almost be in your deathbed. You're dying. You're going down into a place in your subconscious mind that you don't want to go because it's scary, it's uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good. And that's where you find yourself. That's where you connect to your twin. That's where you connect to that greater picture, that greater part of you that you didn't think you could go there. And I'll never forget when Robin Williams, bless his heart, he came to me. This is when he was on the other side, and he reminded me of that movie, What Dreams May Come. And all she wanted was for him to join her where she was, because she lost her husband, she lost her child. She just felt like she couldn't be here in the world anymore, so she just opted out and committed suicide. And so we know when someone goes down into that darkness, sometimes they can't find their way out. But guess what? The new earth means that you are either have been, going to, about to, or all of the above, go deeper into that darker aspect of yourself that you did not want to look at. The energies are amped up so much, so powerfully, that there is no running from this anymore. There's no more, ooh, I gotta wait a little bit, gotta take our time. No. And so as we go deeper into the subconscious part of ourselves that's connected to the super consciousness, this is how much more you unravel yourself into reconnecting to you and to who you are. That's what it is. It's subjective and it's adjective, and it is also noun and pronoun. Okay, it's in action and no action. It's all happening simultaneously. And so as we bring all those pieces together and go deep into that part of ourselves that we merge, and we're merging with the darkness, we're merging with the light, we're merged with spirit, we're merged with God, we're merged with all of the elements of divine feminine and all the elements of divine masculine. It's all of it put together. Do you see how vast it becomes? Do you see how much it expands? You may not be consciously aware of all the pieces of it, but be mindful and aware of how it shows up each moment of the day. Stay present always. Stay always in that moment and see where your soul is leading you, so you have greater wisdom and understanding. Unity consciousness, how the dream showed it to me, is where you're going even deeper in how you honor yourself while you're appearing to be separated from others, understanding and applying the wisdom of where they may be, where you are, and still knowing that they look like they don't know what is happening when they do, but they have to appear in your reality as if they don't know. So you know what's really happening. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like I could see it and I want to explain it so that way you know it and how it relates. So the inner and the outer appears differently to each person. And that's why the main theme is always pay attention to what's happening in your own lane, in your own backyard, within yourself, and how you are having your own experiences. And someone else on the other side of the spectrum may be representing the opposite of you and how they're awakening and how they're responding to, what's happening right now, the C thing. And that in due time, they will shift into another aspect of this reality. They may not necessarily shift. They may just leave the planet. And as they leave the planet, they're releasing that energy that has been a block to what comes together for you as well. So there's so many different things that are happening all at once, all simultaneously. And again, this is about applying wisdom and seeing it for what it is, and that you don't attach to it, and knowing that things are forever shifting on a constant basis. Because as we're ushering the new earth, as things are coming into this flow, is what I call it, so rapidly that by the time you think that you put one piece to this puzzle together, here comes another piece and another piece, and then it can take you away like you're in the ocean and you have no oar to kind of say, oh, I gotta pull myself back because I don't want it to overturn me, but actually this is about letting go of the oars and being in that divine flow with love. And I want to tell you another little, I don't want to say it's a secret, but it's also something that was shown to me yesterday by spirit. They were reminding me, and they said, do you remember what you had recorded in the book, like right in the beginning stage? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, to do with making love. And they said, back in those ancient times, we were making love 5-6 times a day. Okay, at least myself and my beloved, I remember. That's what created the abundance, like the fullness of this abundance, you see? And so if you could think back, how far back to how often do you feel that you've been able to be in the position to feel like you're making love or being in love, and in that aspect of it, and how often do you spend time in those thoughts? And I'm talking about in that purest form, and that it's free flowing and it's divine and it's not tainted. right? Because that's what the new earth is about. And that when we're recreating that element of making love constantly, being in love, that everything looks greener and brighter. You're in more joy. Your skin is just beautiful. You look younger, feel younger. You don't even have to eat as much. You're so sustained by that love and the light. So that's why they say love and light. Love and light. And I know for most people, they feel, I can't even go there. I'm not even ready. Because they're having to go through healing all the pain of the past and, all of the sexual traumas and the division and the separation and all that stuff, and focus on other people and things and this and that. And the list goes on. And it's like you're trapped. It's like you're trapped. And I say this again, the highest attainment, the highest form of getting closer to God, to the divine, to source, prime source, creator, the all there is, the the alpha, the omega, is making love. Not going to a place, not what somebody else is doing in their backyard and shit like that. That's not where it is. See? That means that every moment you could stop. And you ever heard of people saying, hey, I made love over here and I made love over there and I made love in this place and that place. And they just use their imagination and they flowed with it. You see? That is where the true creation lies. Because we're sexual beings. And so as we're releasing the sorrow, the pain, the illnesses that we carried during those ancient times, because we became ill because, of course, do you think it's new that all the stuff going on out there, that this is the first time? No. Spirit showed me that this is the plagues of Egypt. Everything from the fires in Australia, the tsunamis, the earthquakes. Let's see, what else was going on cosmically and on the earth plane. Different types of disasters, different things that were happening in the system, the corruption, the Oprahs, the Gales, the heart opening that started with Kobe, what else again? All the different corruptions in different governments and, almost a World War I or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever the heck number it is. It's see that big picture here and see how it repeated itself. We repeated that cycle of the pain and the disaster. I remember I was driven out of ancient Kemet, Egypt. We were driven out from where we were because we were in that land of milk and honey, as one would say. Oh, yes, indeed. And that is what is being recreated now. See? That's what's being recreated now. So in order for us to start again, we have to break down that old part of ourselves that's holding onto it in consciousness, that's linked to the ancestors, because that's why I go back to the dream to do it. My mom that I have, if you missed that, please feel free to go back to the beginning where I was talking about bits and pieces of the dream, from my memory. And I plan to share it on my community tab on YouTube. There's some things that I just feel are so sacred that I follow my guidance to where I should place it. And it just allows me to keep flowing, not only with the wisdom, but to keep it intact. And that for those who have ears to hear and those who are interested, that I know that they're allowing themselves to be guided into what they're to hear. You know what I mean? And that's what I choose, not only for myself, but for others, because we're doing it together. We're doing it together. We're bringing all the pieces together of ourselves and, again, applying the wisdom and the understanding that comes with it. We're recreating the monetary system. We're letting go of thinking that money is bad and money is dirty and there's not enough to go around and all these things. We're releasing all of those old programming, and that also exists within our ancestors. We're releasing the struggles and the anxiety and the fears. We're releasing the part of ourselves that's limited in consciousness. Okay, and lack and limitation consciousness, that we are dancing our asses off. And the women, the dream, there was belly dancing, the power that returns from the goddess, and how she's free and she's an expression of her body, and that it's not looked at as wrong and enticing and being dishonored. So it's everything in combination that's showing up and coming up in its expression of what had been suppressed. And so as she's becoming freer, everything that we had forgotten or held back because of fears, or if we held it back because what do you call it, fear of retribution, or feeling that if I do this or express this, that someone is going to kill me or destroy me. So as we're filtering through all these stages of what has been attached to our ancestors, so we can bring in the new earth, again, step forward, be authentic, speak your truth. Even if anyone that you talk to or around that don't understand it, it doesn't matter. It's none of your business how they interpret it. You see, because if we don't push it forward and push with the truth in what it is for us, okay, and what's being recreated, don't be afraid to say, oh, do you know that this is a replay of what happened back in Atlantis and ancient Kemet? Do you know what it means for us? It means that we're back together again. We're here to bring it into its truest, purest form, what wasn't able to be completed. And that's why this is happening. Why would you be afraid to say it? Because it's the truth. You see, because as we put it out there, this is how it forms. This is how it takes form. It's time for things to be in a physical form. Don't you agree? Don't you agree? Don't you know that? See? Don't you know that? So that's how I look at it, right? We're jumping into newer ley lines on planet Earth. And it is beginning now. It's not coming in 2022. It's not coming in 2024. It's now. I can feel it. I can see it. Things are even changing in the atmosphere. As you are allowing your body to go through the upgrades as well, because the body is also going through upgrades. It's having to release the illnesses or any type of illness that it has been attached to from the past lives, or past in this life. You know, that's why we had the Mercury retrograde, because we're reviewing more stuff to what happened during these times. Why it felt like, and even as a matter of fact, I had seen an article where there was some dust form or something that was forming in Egypt. And I was like, looky here. You know, that's what I said. I said, looky here. I said, this is truly the apocalypse. This is the apocalypse. I already had a dream to do with the apocalypse. And the dreams, I wrote it down. It was from 10 years ago. I wrote it down. And I said that I brought the apocalypse to New York. That's what I said. You see? And that time, I kind of knew within myself, there was something about me that things always brings change. Me, Sharon, me know that. So if you know and remember that for yourself, don't be afraid to speak it out, because you know it. Because it's a different way of how we are bringing the apocalypse, okay? That things must come in a destructive form in order to be reborn, and we give a rebirth to the earth by breaking it down. You see? If you're in a job that you know it doesn't serve you, and this was another part in the dream that was shown to me, was my mom was fired from her job. Of course, she's on the other side, you know, but she's giving me the information to how I relate it to, you're being fired now. You're being fired from the places you live. You're being fired from the type of income you have now. It's time to be in a greater abundance of that income. And that means that you start aligning with your wealth. And not just, oh, I'm surviving while I'm working. That you are aligning with your true connections, your true love, and not, oh, I'm going to have this multiple over here and I'm going to switch it up now over there. And that you already know who your divine sacred partner is. You already know what your place on earth is together with him and her. That you're not coming off track of it because of someone else and what they're experiencing. That you know that the connection between you and that person is what's bringing in the divine codes of the true divine masculine and feminine, the father, mother, spirit, the union, the marriage of the soul, the marriage of spirit with you and yourself and your beloved. You know that you're not off track into thinking if it's someone else, and you're not confused That you know your purpose is to be in love, and that being in love is what brings on the abundance. Again, I go back to that. It's not how much segments you might put out there or how much speaking that you do, this and that. It's just that it's showing from within you. Your light, your love is shining through, and it speaks volumes, and it speaks truth. That even if someone else is not at that full place with it, that you stay on path with it because you know the truth. You know the truth. You know what it means, not just for you, but your families. You know what it means for the planet, that it doesn't matter who's talking to you or not, that you stick to it and you know your truth, you know your purpose, that you're still authentic, that you're keeping it real. See? You're keeping it real. That's right. No coincidence this song is playing right now. Armageddon. It's a Jamaican song called... Yep. That's right. Praise Jehovah. How many of you are celebrating? How many of you understand what is really happening? The Armageddon, the change, the rapid change. Start from the heart. See? That you know how the system breaks down. You know, like Bob Marley said, the isms and schisms. Even if you know this person is doing this and this person is doing that, you know they are serving the divine purpose of the Holy Spirit. So let's give thanks and praise to all of the Trumps and this one and all the name them. Let's give thanks. Let's give thanks to the system, because we're at the end game now. So those who keep up with Marvel Comics, we're at the end game now, where everything is ended now with what we chose to understand ourselves from our soul. We chose to experience ourselves through the light and the dark. You have been everything that you see in the opposite parts of yourself is what you have been experiencing. So embrace it. You don't have to necessarily stay too long when you join it, because, you know, I go back to What Dreams May Come. He joined her and he remembered who she was in spite of her being in her darkness. Okay? There are some that you may be able to connect to and some you might not be able to connect to when they're in their darkness. You follow your heart and still understand that they are God. You were them at one point in time, maybe not, you know? So as you bring yourself together, the field of consciousness, how they show it to me, this unity field of consciousness, it's coming in galactically as we are also connecting to our galactic family. And where it comes from, the Palladians have been connecting to me quite well. I've been getting a lot of dreams to do with the black goddesses and the black energy, going back to the black hole, going back to recreation. We were all black. We started from blackness. We started in the beginning from black. To embrace it, to understand it, to understand where you came from, who you came from, where you came from, that hole. Okay? Two different type of hole. Because as far as I know, it is kind of black, you know. When you look inside, it's black. You know, the babies, everybody's being cooked through this blackness, you see, and this power. So anyway, it's about to cut off. I'm so grateful that I had the strength to come on here to talk about this. I will be on live again very, very soon. And I'm in gratitude for each and every one of you joining me here. I send you so much peace and infinite blessings.